Please allow me to introduce myself. I am Joseph, the son of Jacob, the grandson of Isaac and the great-grandson of Abraham. You probably know much of my story from today's scripture, but I've been asked to share my story of not only what event was in scripture, but what followed that personally, so that you could experience how I viewed it. Perhaps you remember that my father Jacob was madly in love with the beautiful Rachel, and he worked 7 years to get her in marriage. And then on the wedding day, her father traded her with Leah, and Jacob had to work another 7 years to be able to marry Rachel. I share that because I am the son of Jacob and Rachel. I am the son of his true love. And immediately when I was born, I became Father's favorite. You know what that's like, to be the favorite son or daughter? I had 10 half-brothers. They were born to other wives, but Father made it perfectly clear that I was the favorite son. For example, they all went out to work every day in the fields, and I went sometimes, but many times Father would keep me at home so we could spend time together. And then occasionally he would send me out to the fields where my brothers were working to check up on them. And believe me, I loved that. I loved going out and watching everything they did and coming back and reporting to my father every mistake they made. I suppose you would say I was the tattletale brother. And whenever they came in from the fields, my father was quick to reprimand them for every shortcoming that I had reported. And you know, I think they knew who had tattled on them. Every day my brothers would go out into the fields with their plain old work robes, just a gray or with short sleeves. But Father had given me a very bright, many-colored robe with long sleeves, which indicated that I was the leader. And I was certain to wear that robe whenever I went to check up on my brothers so they would know exactly who was the favorite. And I would even mock them with my dreams, like the one you heard in the scripture reading this morning, where we all had a sheaf of grain, and I would share these dreams with them, of course. I wouldn't keep that a secret. But I would share with them the dream where my sheaf rose up and their sheaves all bowed down to me to recognize my superiority. Nice brother, huh? Well, one day, they had finally reached their limit. And when I came, they grabbed me and they tore off my coat, and they were ready to kill me. And suddenly a trading caravan of camels headed for Egypt came by, and they said, "Why kill him? We can get rid of him by selling him as a slave to this caravan, and we can make some money on it as well." So they took me and they bound me, and I was bound to one of the camels, and off I went toward Egypt, and I can still hear them laughing. Okay, who's the boss now? What did being the favorite get you now? I found out later that they had taken my beautiful robe and they had dipped it in animal blood and told my father that I had been killed by a wild animal. Well, that's where your scripture ended today, but I'm going to move on with that because the journey to Egypt behind a camel was very difficult. But you know something? That crisis was a moment of self-examination for me. And while I was walking toward Egypt, I had to ask, Joseph, what kind of person are you? Can you understand that? Have you ever had to do that? Has there ever been a time in your life where things kind of fell apart, where there was a major conflict with family or friends or work or marriage? A time when instead of pointing your finger and saying, those people, look what they did, you had to look within and ask yourself, who am I? What kind of person am I? Well, I have to be honest, when I looked at myself during that journey and I looked at the way I had treated my brothers, I didn't like what I saw. I saw that I had been a spoiled, self-centered person who cared little about the feelings of others or the consequences of my behavior. I had been so filled with myself. You know what they call that today? Narcissism. I had been so filled with myself, with my need to be special, that I had used my brothers as stepping stones to that false need. Probably for the first time in my life, as I walked behind that camel, I had to be honest with myself, and I did not like what I saw. The journey to Egypt was physically exhausting. Have you ever walked behind a camel? But you know, worse than the physical exhaustion was the inner journey that I had to take in looking at myself. And during that journey, I made a decision. No, it was more than a decision. I made a covenant with God that I would never treat people that way again. Eventually, I came to Egypt and I was sold as a slave to the home of Potiphar, who was the chief of Pharaoh's guard, a very high position. And I became a household servant wearing short-sleeve robe. And I had to work in the menial tasks of cleaning and scrubbing and carrying and doing whatever task needed to be done. But you know, while I was doing that, I realized that I was seeing people and life differently. I did my work without complaining. I treated my fellow workers with dignity and respect. And somehow, Potiphar must have noticed, and I began to be promoted, little by little, until finally I was the head of the household. I had all the servants beneath me. And then again, that led to a very serious crisis in my life. Because Potiphar's wife, a lovely but lonely young woman, from the very beginning was being flirtatious with me. And that scared me. And I handed most of the responsibilities of dealing with her personally to other servants. But one day, when no one else was around, She asked me into her sleeping quarters and asked me to be her lover. On basic principle and loyalty to my master, I refused. I could not portray Potiphar. You know, I look back at that and I think the young Joseph would have acted differently. The young Joseph would have done anything to lift himself in other people's eyes. Then Potiphar's wife, in anger, because I had rejected her, she retaliated by reporting to her husband that I had forcefully tried to seduce her. Potiphar, I suspect, knew his wife better than that and doubted her, but she had made the statement, and to protect her reputation, I was sent to prison. Luckily, I was not executed. At first, I was very angry at her. At first, I thought, how could she do that to me? And then I remembered myself and the way I had treated my brothers. And I understood. And once again, I saw how destructive self-centeredness can be. You probably remember that while I was in prison, several of Potiphar's servants were also in prison, and they had dreams, and I interpreted those dreams, and the dreams, my interpretations became true. So eventually, when Pharaoh had some dreams that were troubling him, he had heard about this Joseph in prison who had interpreted dreams for his servants, and he called me to interpret his dreams. They were very different. He dreamt that 7 very lean and skinny cows devoured 7 very fat cows, and 7 very lean, useless ears of corn devoured 7 very healthy, full ears of corn. And he said, what does this mean? And I said, I believe it means that Egypt is going to have 7 very plentiful years of harvest, followed by 7 very lean years of harvest. And I would suggest that during the plentiful harvest, Egypt stores its grain and has grain available for the 7 lean years. He was so impressed that he not only released me from prison, but he made me his agricultural advisor. So during the plentiful years, we built storage grains and we stored the grain so that when the lean years came, we had enough grain to feed the people of Egypt, and even grain left over to sell at great profit to other nations that were starving. And then one day, who do you suppose came to Egypt begging to buy grain for their starving families? You guessed it. The very same brothers who had wanted to kill me, who sold me into slavery, these same brothers were now standing before me, begging to buy grain for their starving families. Here I was, the brother who had been sold into slavery, now in a position of life and death over those who sold me. Can you imagine what was going through my head during that time? I must admit, the The old Joseph, the selfish Joseph, was rising to the surface. And I said, I can punish them. I can make them bow down to me. I have life and death power over them at this time. I had a choice, a very crucial choice. I could let my bitterness rule and punish my brothers, or I could forgive them and reach out in love. Have you ever been there in your own life? Have you ever been at a point where you were between the choice of bitterness and forgiveness towards someone? Has someone possibly hurt you, taken advantage of you, abused you, taken your love and trampled on it? Is there someone in your past, or maybe even in today, where you stand at that same crossroad between bitterness and forgiveness? I think we all face those times, don't we? And as I look back at that day, I'm so grateful that once again God's Spirit was with me, and I was able to set aside my bitterness and forgive and find peace. I can't ever imagine what might have happened to me if bitterness had won out. Because bitterness, resentment, never has a happy ending in our lives, does it? Well, that's my story. In some way, I think it's all of our stories. I think we all reach points in our lives when, in the midst of hardship, we have to look within and ask ourselves, who am I? I think we all in our lives have moments when we have to make a decision between bitterness and forgiveness. I'm so grateful that God helped me to make the right choices at those moments. And here's my prayer for you today, that when those times come, you will let God guide you as well. God bless you, my friends. And as we say in Israel, Shalom. May you all know God's peace.